Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus, and it's time for a Star Wars Toys R Us exclusive. Fresh territory for all of us, I know. This is the First Order Snowtrooper officer from the 6-inch Black series, basically identical to the regular release First Order Snowtrooper, with the addition of a shoulder pauldron, and an extra $1 or $2 of cost at the Toys R Us I went to. The swine. I barely saw these guys on the big screen, but according to a few Google image search results, the figure looks pretty well spot on. The sculpt doesn't seem to be missing anything major, and the paintwork is, well, minimal. He's a snowtrooper. And while many of the small bits and pieces of black and silver are painted in, there's no black to represent the exposed dashes of the undersuit between the gloves and the wrist cuff, or in the neck and collar area. Granted, these are teeny tiny nitpicks, but given how casting this guy in white plastic accounts for 90% of his coloration, I don't feel they're entirely unwarranted nitpicks even on a $22 retail toy. The helmet does look properly First Order snow creepy, with its big-ass bucket and tiny optic slit. The slit honestly looks even smaller than the one on the actual movie costume, but I'm not sure if that makes me like it more or less. The exclusive Pauldrons patch of red is kinda messy, so if you can check for quality in person before making a purchase, give it the once-over. The Snowtrooper comes with Captain Phasma's extended stock F-11D blaster, done up in the white and black firearm color scheme I've come to love. It's nice to see all the extra detail brought to life here, as it was rather washed out on Phasma's copy of the gun. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to store the blaster on these guys. They haven't got any holsters on their hips, their, backpack has nothing. I mean, you can remove it, but it's got nothing. They've got to hold on to their guns. This, encourages warfare. We're not gonna get a fin out of the Snowtroopers. They have no empathy. They want to murder and kill in a winter wonderland. Yo, check me out. I can also hold my gun better than the First Order Stormtrooper. Get that out of the way. So, the Snowtrooper officer has a big-ass helmet. It's connected by that ball socket on a hinge stem deal. The hinge stem still works totally fine. He can still look down just a bit and look back up. He's able to look left and right, kind of, but the ball socket joint, there's an incredible hindrance to it on here, and that's this pauldron. If you take a look back here, his helmet's made of a somewhat flexible plastic in the back. It's glossy, but it has a bit of flex, and it bends, it curls on this pauldron, and if you leave him like this, it'll probably warp really severely. Pauldron gets in the way, and it prevents him from having the full range of his neck joint that I would like for him to have. I'm assuming that without the pauldron, the helmet will work a lot better. It's a shame, because the pauldron looks cool, and I've heard it'll have the same effect on a regular Stormtrooper. So, bummer, man. Either way, his shoulders are universal jointed to go forward and back with a pin disc to go out, and they can go, I don't know, just 2 degrees shy of a tree pose. As for his elbows, you saw, they're able to bend pretty much a full 90. I would call that a full 90. I don't know, I'd call it better than that, is what I'd call it. And there is a bicep swivel built into that joint. The wrists can twist, and they've got a hinge to go all like this, and, dismissively like, I don't care, I'm a snowtrooper. His torso joint really works, and I thought this was going to be super hindered, because there's a big thing over this top part, this big armor platey thing. There's a thing wrapped around his midriff, and then this PVC skirt belt thing. Nonetheless, he is able to bend forward like that. He can bend back like that. And then as far as side-to-side stuff, he could tilt this way. He could tilt a bit that way. This axis of movement is a bit hindered, but he can also twist. It works, man. Also, his backpack can spin. That's fun. His legs. Now, this is where I thought everything was going to go wrong on this guy, because he's got, effectively, a big PVC sheath wrapped around his hips. And as you do pose him and get this thing to spread out, it does bust up the effect there, because this stuff here and this stuff here is supposed to be a flowing continuous coat, and this makes it clear no, that's not a coat, it's just a thing that's attached to his belt. So ignore that, or push it up here and hold it up there as you're posing him. His ball socket hips, they can go forwards, obviously, but as for going outwards, I'm able to get an effective range of this without the skirts pulling them back. I thought the skirts were going to fight back and his legs were going to be locked to going out about that far. But no, he can go out pretty decently, and the joints hold up. That was a really pleasant surprise. His thighs do have a cut, which totally messes with the sculpt of his pants, but does anyone really care? I don't. He's got big, chunky, double-jointed hinged knees, and the top part is a lot harder to move than the bottom part. Once you do, like, you know, there's a lot going on. And as you see, the skirt is not super duper interfering. He's got a hinge for his foot to waggle forwards and backwards. That connection is an ankle tilt, but then here's the kicker. This dude has a boot cut connecting his shoe to his pant leg, and that's also huge. The big question is, can this guy kneel? Like, you know, he can do a lot of decent poses, but can he kneel? I've been able to get him to decently go and take a knee and have it look pretty okay. Like, I wouldn't leave him in this pose, but if you get everything just arranged just right, like, there you go. He's on a knee. He looks okay if he's got his gun, you know, he's like, pew, pew, pew. I don't know, here, take, nah, whatever. It's a pretty solid posable toy, and the legs, like, they're hindered. They're nowhere near as hindered as I was expecting. I didn't think I was gonna say this, but, like, I think this guy, he's not as goofy fun to pose as the Stormtrooper, but as far as doing Stormtroopery or Snowtroopery poses, I think he's a little bit better than the Stormtrooper, and he feels damn solid. Just this backpack keeps spinning. That's about it. One without a pauldron probably would be, like, even less hindered. So the Snowtrooper, what a pleasant surprise to pose and play with. All things considered, I'm a little surprised to say that the First Order Snowtrooper feels more solid a toy release than the First Order Stormtrooper in the 6-inch Black series. This isn't to knock the Stormtrooper so much as to say that the Snowtrooper was the figure from which I expected more limitations. His elbows actually work better than the Stormtrooper's, and with a large form-fitting PVC piece clinging around his legs, his posability may not be acrobatic, but it has way less hindrance than I had been led to expect. The build quality is aces, and my biggest issue comes from a pauldron that doesn't even come affixed to the regular non-officer release of the figure. Sadly, this all comes on the back of a suit design that was barely on screen, but if you dig how it looks despite its lack of activity so far, the First Order Snowtrooper is absolutely worth a pickup, officer or not. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and if I do end up getting a copy of the regular Snowtrooper, I face the dilemma of doing a video that'd be maybe 2.5 minutes long, tops, as an addition to this one. And with that being the kind of thing I consider to be a dilemma, one has to wonder, what the hell went wrong with me, man?